before we get started, Vice President Nicholson had an excellent suggestion a few weeks ago, which was to invite a representative from certain student groups to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and before they lead us in the pledge, to talk about the program, where they stand, and just remind us all of why we're here. So today we have reps from the speech and debate team, but our own student rep from Gabriel is going to introduce them.
Yes, the captain of our Gabriel speech and debate team, Jonathan Lee, Raymond Lamb, Maggie Wu, and Kyle Discount will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Alright, so before we start with the Pledge of Allegiance and everything, we would like to talk about the team a little bit for you guys. The team is actually doing extremely well this year. We've gone to a total of 10 tournaments so far, and the team and individuals both have done extremely well so far this season. But more than this, we've traveled to many different places so far this year and have many different destinations that we intend on going to. I mean, so far we've been to Union City up north in California. We've had students go to Chicago, and later on we can hopefully go to Indianapolis for nationals and San Francisco for state.
All right.
Although we're proud of our individual successes, the thing that really brings our team of 200 members together is our passion for speaking and the ability to inspire our audiences.
But moreover than the whole passion idea, we see that a lot of what the team teaches and emphasizes is giving back to your roots or where you've come from. So we've been doing a lot of things to give back to the community and our school.
We had two opportunities to do so this year. Our first one was our second annual speech and debate fundraiser. At the fundraiser, we were able to have small businesses be able to network with each other, be able to communicate with the community. Also, we have had our SEF phone banking. We were able to get a lot of funds from that to help support our district. Now I would like to invite you guys all to join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Place the right hand over your heart.
Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now move to the request to address the governing board regarding items on the agenda, as well as not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Assembly Regional School District. First request is from Dave Winchell.
At this point, could I call on my wife and see how that would be appropriate to make sure?
She's next on the list, so if you want to yield to her first, if she wants to yield to you.
I got papers. Do I bring them to you, or do you pass them?
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we've got a lot of speakers, so I'm just going to remind you we will be enforcing the 3-minute time limit, so please try to keep your remarks concise.
Will there be a little code that goes it?
Jan's taking the time tonight, so it's not taking minutes, so just watch for Jan.
My name is Mary Winchell. I am a mom here in the district, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I had a situation that occurred in September when I was here at a school board meeting late one night. I have attended school board meetings sporadically over the last few years, and last year I noticed that some of the comments that were coming from the board I found to be unprofessional and in some cases disturbing, particularly as was directed toward our high school Gabrielino. So I felt at that time that it was important as a Gabrielino mom that I start coming to the school board meetings regularly and in fact staying until the very end. And there was a night in front of you, you have the transcripts of the words that were spoken, and also a copy of the email that I sent to the board members and to all of the administrators. The only one that may not have seen it is our superintendent, and Andrew Ammon, and I don't think I sent copies to you, I'm sorry. That Cynthia Bracamonte did forward my email to all parties that would have been here at the board meeting that night, and I think at 11:20 we were already gone home. The school board meeting was ending. There was nothing left to cover on the agenda when the conversation started about drug dogs and drug use on our campus and our district police officers and where were they. And I was so glad to be still in the room. And the only other person I was very thankful for that was still in the room was Mr. Herring. So I was the only civilian. So Mr. Herring and I were the only people left in the room besides the board. And the conversation is before you. There's also a link if you want to go on the audio recording and listen to it, and there are copies in the back if anyone from the community would like a copy. And it's titled SGUSD Board Meeting September 27, 2011. And I have in fact informed a member of the board that I would be speaking about this tonight. The comments started at a time when this was not agendized, so the only thing that can happen is that people suggest it be put on a future meeting. Mrs. Campbell, did you say 1 minute?
1 minute.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to go right to my email that I sent to the board and did not receive, in most cases, any response, and in some cases, an unsatisfactory response. I sent this that same week. Dear school board members, I attended the board meeting on Tuesday, September 27. I found the meeting very informative, and even though I have a student at GHS, I was enlightened by both GHS presentations. Thank you for spotlighting our school. I am writing to share my concerns about the conversation board members had at the end of the meeting. I could not find a reference to drug dogs and drug testing on the agenda, although it was discussed. I find it difficult to maneuver through the website and web page with the agenda minutes and supporting documents. So it is possible that I missed the agenda item, although I did print it out. I also do not know if you have the freedom to discuss items that are not on the agenda. Please let me know. Is my time up? Because Dave can finish my letter. Thank you for your time. This is my husband, Gabriel.
I need an introduction. David Winchell, and I belong here. My greater concern, though, and the comments made in the tone of the discussion, I believe the conversation began with questions about our on-campus officers. Then it went on to drug dogs. Finally, the comment was made that if football players were ever drug tested, we would no longer have a team at Gabriel. The entire conversation disturbed me. It seemed disrespectful, inappropriate, and unprofessional. However, I take the greatest exception with the final comments about football players. If you truly believe there was what was expressed on Tuesday night, we have a responsibility to speak with Mrs. Heinrich immediately. My son is on the Gabriel football team. I asked him directly if he is taking drugs. I also asked if he knew of others on the team who are taking drugs. I then went on to ask him if he's ever been offered drugs by teammates. His answer to these questions was no. He certainly could be lying, but if you have concerns that he and his teammates are using drugs, I respectfully ask that you speak with his principal and with his parents before you make a public pronouncement or even a public musing about this drug use. I'm requesting this on behalf of my own child and on behalf of all the students and parents at Gabriel High School. I'm extremely thankful that I was the only parent at the time in your final conversation. In the future, if you're going to discuss our students publicly, please put it on the agenda so that I and other parents can be present to learn and if necessary, defend. Now this is, I believe, in the Brown Act specifies that each item of business is to be transacted or discussed, including items to be discussed in closed session must appear on the agenda, which generally need not to exceed 20 words. The actions or discussions of any item not appearing on the posted agenda is prohibited, except in the cases when a board member may ask questions of clarification and other such things. The discussion that occurred on September 27th, which occurred after the conclusion of all agendized actions, took place and lasted 9½ minutes. It was not listed as a business item on the agenda. Then board president was Denise Minchak, and she initiated the conversation, which ultimately led to an in-depth discussion by the board members of potential options for mandatory drug testing of the students at Gabriel. Thank you. This discussion was interrupted several times by Acting Superintendent Leslie Cornell, reminding the board that this was not an agendized item, and asking if they would put this item on a future agenda. After her first warning, Board President Denise Minchak stated, "No, it's not on the agenda, but it's under board governance. You know, for us to consider and to see what other schools are doing, it's time to begin entertaining the idea of random testing." This then continued the discussion for another 7¼ minutes. This board discussion is clearly a violation of the Brown Act. Time permitting, you could discuss your feelings and such, but you cannot discuss that sort of thing without with having an item on the agenda. You were warned you were violating the Brown Act, but yet you continued. This item, which the board felt merited discussion for 9 minutes on September 27th, never appeared on future agenda.
Colleen Jones.
Andrew, mine specifically states it would be in response to supposedly a petition that's supposed to be read.
Correct.
So I'll wait.
Took these in the order that they were given to me,
Sorry.
provided that they were on the relevant topic. I'm going to call on, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Sridhar Narayan.
Good evening. My name is Sridhar Narayan. I'm an SGUSD parent with children in Jefferson Middle School and Gabriel High School. Today, I stand before you as the representative of 200 signatories who asked me to read a petition from them to the school board. As parents, community members, and stakeholders in the quality of public education in San Gabriel, we, the undersigned, publicly and formally condemn Board Member Denise Menchaca for demonstrating a willful disregard for board policies and procedures, a dangerous tendency to ignore pressing district issues in favor of politically expedient topics unrelated to the primary mission of the SGUSD board, an inability to evaluate financial repercussions of board actions, and a consistent effort to minimize community input. Mrs. Menchaca's actions have caused us, her constituents, to lose confidence in her ability to fulfill the duties for which she was elected. A few of the most egregious examples of the aforementioned behaviors include, number 1, failure to adhere to the stated board goal of, quote, maintaining and upgrading of the educational standards and facilities so that the best possible education will be available to the children of the community, end quote. This is done by making a city council relevant topic, such as increasing union jobs in San Gabriel, a focus topic of board meetings from December 8, 2009 through November 10, 2010, thereby diverting focus from more school board relevant topics, such as state education budget cuts. Number 2, failure to make it a priority to hire a full-time permanent superintendent of business services to oversee SGUSD's finances after the departure of Mark Chaldu in June 2010. Instead, SGUSD has retained a consultant serving as a part-time interim superintendent of business services since August 11, 2010.
1 minute, sir.
Number 3, repeated unauthorized distribution of politically oriented messages to SGUSD email accounts. Number 4, violation of SGUSD board bylaw 9323 by consistently and blatantly curtailing community input by limiting individual public comments to 2 minutes without first obtaining board consent to decrease the standard 3-minute time limit. Number 5, most recently, violation of SGUSD Board Administrative Regulation 1312.1 concerning personnel disciplinary matters in calling an emergency board meeting to vote on terminating the contract of GHS principal Sharon Heinrich without proper cause or authority. In our opinion, her latest action damaged the reputation of both a well-respected district employee and our only high school. We respectfully request from Mrs. Menchaca both a public apology and an explanation for her misconduct. Thank you.
You're going to leave those signatures, the petition?
Sure.
Colleen Jones.